Hi friends, hope you're doing all well. I'm Curtis. I'm a recreational competitive trail runner in Cape Town. Thanks for stopping by as I share a bit about my running journey. A recent long run I did over the weekend was the Pilchard run, which is organized by the Mates Trail Running Club. The Pilchard run is meant as a training run for those that are going to be participating in the Old Fishermans Trail Challenge. Every year the race would alternate between a starting point between Hout Bay and Hoek. Now the route follows the same route that the fishermen used to use when they wanted to get from the Atlantic side to the Indian Ocean side very quickly. They would traverse across over the mountain. Due to the recent fire we had on the mountain, which went rampant, the route did have to be changed for safety and allowing for the area that was damaged to be rehabilitated. And just a quick shout out to all the volunteer wildfire service volunteers. You guys are amazing. They put in so much time and effort to go out and make sure that the fires are contained and that people are protected and that the mountain does not get further damage. For this run, I was joined by a friend I had recently met through the Constantia Neck long run that I had done the previous week, Callan. How are we feeling?
Woo!
Just a wee bit of a workout.
Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny workout.
The starting point this year would be at Constantia Neck, except we wouldn't be going up towards the direction of Table Mountain, but rather the opposite direction. It was an early start at La Parada. We rocked up and we had to sign in our names for the register and be assigned a number just for the safety reasons. And with it being winter this side, I had to take my headlamp as it's still pretty dark early in the morning. Nope. I knew it was going to be a technical climb at the beginning. Technical and non-stop climbing. Up the Vlakkenberg Trail. As like most trails in Cape Town start, it's just immediate climbs all the time. Thankfully the sun started peeking through with just enough light to see as it was overcast most of the day. I also decided to use my ASICS Fuji Speeds instead of my Tribuco Maxes, as I was familiar with a bit of the route and I anticipated a lot of technical rocky terrain and single track, which it eventually was. And I think taking the Tribuco Maxes would not be ideal for the amount of footwork that was required for this route. Nearly there. Once we ascended up the Vlakkenberg Trail, we had a slight descent into the saddle, and from there we were greeted with more climbing.
finish the route than not. Oh yeah. No, I think you're fit enough to be able to like.
But once we had gotten through a little bit of that, we eventually went along the single track to a point where we came to a tar road, which is eventually where we would be looping back on our return route back.
Cam, gotta represent Gonzo, bro.
We were now moving steadily with the group as we traversed across the face on a single track. This led us to some amazing views. We could see Hout Bay on the right hand side as well as the Atlantic Ocean, and we were moving as a nice group, consistent pace, and by then we had to slow down a bit because Callan had really started to feel a bit of that initial climb, but we kept moving.
No. Let's get our extra pace.
Once we had reached the point where we had to make our final climb, we went up about 60 or 100 meters up the steps, and all of a sudden the wind just started hitting us and the cloud cover had blown in, making our visibility very poor. And this is where I want to stress for anyone that is hiking or running or going to climb up the mountains, it is a non-negotiable that you take some sort of weather protection, as you'll soon see why. The last climb was not a pretty one. We kept it slow and steady so that we did not burn out, nor did we end up dropping in body temperature. As we were making our way up the final climb, we could also see the extent of the fire damage that happened recently. And you can see a clear contrast of where the fire had hit and where it had just stopped.
Right, so we're about to finish our last big climb. As always, whenever running on the mountain, usually here in Cape Town, you always want to be prepared because things can change like that.
Once we had nearly reached the top of the final climb, this is where things got even more trickier, as if the cloud cover and the wind wasn't bad enough. But due to the fire, this meant that the route was pretty much disappeared. All we could see was just dirt and burnt flora, which made navigating a little bit difficult, but we soldiered on And thankfully, after a bit of time trying to figure out which direction to go with my watch, a group of people had come up from behind us, and thankfully they knew where to go. It was just a few little steps forward, and we eventually ended up back on the tar road. We just had to follow the tar road back on our descent, which eventually led us back to the last little climb back to the Fluckenberg Trail, which would eventually take us back to La Parada.
Made it, dude.
Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really look forward to sharing more of my running journey with you in the future. Cheers.